Hello and welcome to the 30k channel dedicated to games set on the Horus Heresy. I'm your host, David Brains, and we have two returners. Yes, they're back. We have Jason and Tom. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Great to have you back.
Good to be back.
We always like people that come back. It means they weren't scared off in their first case and they did enjoy themselves. So great to have these gents back. And we've got a treat. We've got a Centurion game, haven't we?
Yeah, it's a bit different to last time.
Yes.
A few less drop pods.
Yeah, there was a ton, wasn't there?
Yeah, 8. Oh yeah, of course, first team between all of us, and you've got a completely different army this time.
Yeah, different Legion. Yeah, Alpha Legion this time rather than the Blood Angels. So yeah, very different.
We're lucky to get these guys back. Two fantastic armies. Those Sons of Horus are absolutely sublime. Love the dark green.
Thank you.
Awesome. But then contrast with the real high edge highlighted blue of the Alpha Legion. And you've gone a matte colour instead of this gloss.
Yeah, I saw some artwork in one of the books, and they had a sort of a deep matte, sort of almost Ghost Legion blue, which really captured me. I'm not a massive fan of the metallic scene myself, but
sure,
plenty of edge highlighted scales. So yeah,
it looks very, very cool. And don't forget as well, you know, both these gents have based their armies on snow bases, and we've got a winter wonderland for you to fight over today.
Matches the weather outside.
It does.
It's frosty.
It's freezing outside. So we are into December now. This will be probably the second or third game in December that's released, and we've gone full on Winter Wonderland, and we've even nabbed a little bit of slate off the board to put on the objectives there. We just had to make one up this morning, didn't we? So
yeah, just one short, but yeah, got through.
It looks good. I think it's going to be a spectacular looking game.
Should be.
Hope so. Yeah, heavy infantry. Lots of infantry there. Should look good on the table.
Only one Contemptor on the table. Can you take a Contemptor out?
Probably there's quite a few combi weapons. There's combi melters and some melter guns and some melter bombs. But last time in our test game, he managed to blow himself up with overcharging. So I'm just going to rely on him killing himself, and should be fine.
And like you said, you have done a couple of test games just to get this one right, haven't you? How many games? 2 or 3 games you've played?
Just the one.
Okay.
We're going to do a couple and then just ran out of organisation.
Time, innit?
Yeah.
It came down to the wire last time, so hopefully something like that again. And in the practice games, we found it fairly well balanced, so should be a challenge and quite dramatic.
Yeah. We haven't done an infantry game for a very long time. When guys come on the channel, they usually want 2.5, 3k, which I don't blame them, because why wouldn't you want to put 3k down for your first game? But when you return like these guys have, you can then do a small zone mortalis, you can do Centurion, because you've got the feel for the day, and then you can then just kind of narrow the game where you want it to go for you next time. So really great to have this small game back. So these guys back rather for a small game. Let's talk about the mission. We're playing War of Lies, and we've got Vanguard strike deployment zones. I think it's going to be quite interesting to see both of these forces move around that huge 6x4 board. I did send these guys a message this morning and said, do you want a 4x4 or a 6x4? And
6x4, yeah.
I think it's the best decision.
Yeah. You've got quite a manoeuvrable army. It's quite fast, and I've got quite a bit of infiltrating and scouting, so it's nice to have the room to play that 6x4.
Yeah, it's coming from the 3 jump infantry units plus all the infiltrate, and that's, I mean, things can move quick anyway, so should play out quite interesting.
I think it will be quite fast and furious. You've got a lot that can do a lot of damage to each other, and I think, as we mentioned, the 6x4 was the right decision, because it just gives that little bit of spread. Because you can, I did a board build video for this board, and there's a couple of occasions where I've added a mound in that will completely conceal a 10-man tactical unit or a good half portion of a Contemptor. So it looks quite sparse, but there is a ton of line of sight blocking terrain, and I think you'll have to work quite hard to get to where you need to be without being countered in some way. So I think it's going to be a super, super interesting game. I'm looking forward to getting these forces on the board. They look absolutely fantastic against the backdrop of the white and the grey. Visually, it's going to be fantastic. But gents, let's dig into your lists.
Yep.
Work out exactly what they've taken, and then we'll get on with the game and we'll see it turn 1.
1,500 point Centurion army for the Sons of Horus. The army's led by the champion. His warlord trait is Master of the Vanguard, and they are not running a Rite of War. The only Sons of Horus HQ choice is a Legion champion, armed with Artificer armour, Paragon Blade, Refractor Field and Jump Pack. The first of the Sons of Horus Elite's choice is a Contemptor Cortis Dreadnought. He comes equipped with a close combat weapon and a combi bolt gun. Then he's been upgraded with a Kerry's assault cannon. The next Sons of Horus Elite slot is an apothecary detachment with a single apothecary. He's armed with a power sword, augury scanner and jump pack. Finally, in the elite slot, the Sons of Horus have 2 5-man destroyer units. Each unit has a Toxiferum Flamer, is equipped with jump packs, and both sergeants have artificer armour. One sergeant has a power axe, and we're going to be using these using the playtest rules today. Both sergeants are equipped with Phosphex bombs. The first of the Sons of Horus troops choices is an 11-man tactical squad. They're all equipped with extra close combat weapons. There's a Vexilla in the squad, and the sergeant's equipped with artificer armour and a power maul. The second and final troops choice for the Sons of Horus is another 11-man tactical squad, again all armed with extra close combat weapons. There's a Vexilla in the squad, and the sergeant is armed with artificer armour. The final unit in the Sons of Horus army is a fast attack slot, which is 14 Reavers. The chieftain is armed with artificer armour, power fist, and has a melter gun. And then in the unit there are 10 chain axes, 3 power weapons, and 1 melter gun. The whole unit is equipped with jump packs.
This is the full 1500 point Centurion list of Alpha Legion. The Warlord is the Legion Delegatus. His Warlord trait is Voidwalker, giving 1 infantry unit Deep Strike. I've chosen the Lenin and Terminators to receive this. The mutable tactic for the army is Counterattack, and the veteran's veteran tactic is Stalker, giving them Scout. The first of 3 HQ choices for the Alpha Legion is a Legion Delegatus. He's equipped with Artificer Armour, Refractor Field, Mastercrafted Power Fist, Power Dagger, and a Combi Plasma Gun. Second HQ choice for the Alpha Legion is a Legion Saboteur. He's equipped with Artificer Armour, Power Dagger, and a Combi Plasma Gun. The third and final HQ choice is Exodus. He is equipped with the Instrument. First of 2 elite choices for the Alpha Legion is a 5-man Linnaean Terminator unit. They are all equipped with Power Fists and Volkite Chargers. The Sergeant also has a Power Dagger and a Mastercrafted weapon. Second and final elite choice for the Alpha Legion is a 10-man Legion Veteran squad. The Sergeant is equipped with Artificer Armour, Power Dagger, Power Fist, and a Combi Plasma. The unit has a Nuncia Vox, 2 melter guns, and they are all armed with Bane Strike ammunition. The first troop choice for the Alpha Legion is a Legion Headhunter squad. There are 8 men. The Headhunter Prime is equipped with Artificer Armour and a Power Fist. The entire squad is equipped with Bane Strike ammunition, Combi Plasma Guns, and Power Daggers. The final unit for the Alpha Legion army is the second troop choice. This is a 7-man Headhunter squad. The Prime is equipped with Artificer Armour, Power Fist. The entire unit is equipped with Power Daggers, Bane Strike ammunition, and Combi Melter Guns.
Jason, Tom, we are deployed, ready to go. Sons of Horus versus Alpha Legion. And Jason, the Alpha Legion did a ton of infiltrating, didn't they?
Yep, both Headhunter units infiltrated, as did Exodus, and the Veteran squad have used their scout move to just move a bit forwards, redeploy within 6 inches.
Fantastic. Tom, there is a huge number of Sons of Horus on the table as well, isn't there?
Yes, nothing in reserve though, so that's the difference, I suppose.
Good stuff.
Yes, now, I've got some reserves. I've got my Linnaean Terminators are deep striking, and the Saboteur is outflanking as well.
Great stuff. And let's remind us, we're playing War of Lies, and we've got 5 objectives down the table. They might be a bit tough to see, because obviously we've got the snow on the board and the snow on the objectives, but we know they're there, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got some special standing stones.
There.
2.
There's one tucked out of your sight there, and there's another standing stone up there. Yep. Like you say, a tiny bit hard to spot, but that's the only downside to having a really cinematic setup. Yeah. We've got here, like, all ties in together nicely.
We're scrabbling around in the snow and rock.
Yeah.
To secure whatever is underneath them. So that's
magic
cool.
Magic stones. Magic stones.
It might be demon stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Ooh. Now, who deployed first went first?
Alpha Legion have deployed first, made their scout move, and Sons of Horus are probably going to scout.
Try and
seize.
Seize even,
yeah, should we do that now?
Go on, let's have a look. Lucky number 6, right?
Yes.
Oh!
Yeah.
All right, let's have a friendly
Fantastic.
handshake, gents.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Well, yeah, and you, mate.
Alpha Legion, turn 1.
Sons of Horus turn 1.
I'll tell you what I'll do, just up there.
Do you want to do that again?
No.
No.
Sons of Horus, turn 1. I'll overlay top. I know what I'm doing.
I forgot to mention about I used my Right of Water reroll to get first turn as well, but I'll do it at the end. I'll mention at the end that blah 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 you seized, even though I was able to get the first.
Sons of Horus turn 1 movement phase. Fairly simple. The whole army is thrust forward towards the Alpha Legion. The only unusual move was the destroyers on the far left jumping up into the ruins on that slope. They all took a dangerous terrain test. Only one failed, and he was saved by his power armor. Sons of Horus turn 1 shooting phase. Every unit except for the destroyers up in the ruins has run forward. The warlord trait for the champion, the master of the vanguards, had a big impact here because it's given +1 to the run move of every unit that I've run, which were all within 12 inches of him. The destroyers up here on the ruins have fired their bolt pistols across at the headhunters. 9 shots with the bolt pistols. They managed to cause 3 wounds, but all of them were saved by Jason's power armor. Not a bad turn, no damage done, but moving into a powerful position right up in the Alpha Legion's face, really.
Alpha Legion turn 1 movement phase. The headhunters armed with the combi melters have moved up into the grill of the Sons of Horus tactical squad. The veteran squad with the Delegatus in the centre has pushed forward to try and capitalise on the shorter range of their Bane Strike ammunition. And the final headhunter squad with the combi plasmas has dropped down into the ground level to draw a better line of sight on the destroyers on the ground floor. Exodus had stayed still to try and snipe a few key characters with his instrument rifle. Alpha Legion turn 1 shooting phase. The veteran squad fired point blank into the Reaver squad in front of them. The sergeant managed to get hot with his combi plasma, doing no wounds. The Delegatus, however, managed to cap 2 with his combi plasma. 1 was brought down by the melter gun, and despite causing 6 rending shots with the Bane Strike ammunition, the apothecaries managed to save all wounds. So only 3 Marines were killed. Next to fire was Exodus. He also opened up into the Reaver squad using rapid shot for 4 salvo shots. Unfortunately, he rolled 3 ones and missed with 3 of his shots. The 1 precision shot was targeted against a Marine with a power sword, who failed his armour save, but true to form, passed his feel no pain save again. The headhunter unit armed with the combi plasmas have jumped down and opened up on the destroyer squad in front of them. The combi plasmas caused a devastating 8 wounds, however 6 were passed by the cover saves. The Bane Strike rounds of the bolters fared a bit better, finishing off the last 2 Marines of the squad, leaving just the sergeant alive on his own. The last act of the Alpha Legion shooting phase was the second headhunter unit. They opened up with their Bane Strike bolters onto the tactical squad, killing 3 men with their rending shots. However, the 5 wounds caused by the regular ammunition were all passed by the power armour. Summing up the turn with Tom rolling lots and lots of armor saves and cover saves, and there's far too many Sons of Horus left alive on the table.
Sons of Horus turn 2 movement. The destroyers that were up on that ledge there have taken a difficult terrain test and only managed to move 3 inches. So 3 of them have hopped down into the ruins to face the Alpha Legion. The sergeant remaining from the other destroyer squad has just moved up a little into the doorway to tackle those Alpha Legion. And then coming across, we've got the Reavers just moving up, the tactical Marines again moving up to get a better line of sight. The Dreadnought has overcharged his reactor in an attempt to move a bit further, so he's moved 7 inches. And then again, the tactical squad just simply moving up into a better position to take the fight to the Alpha Legion this turn. Sons of Horus shooting, turn 2. The surviving destroyer sergeant has moved up into that doorway and slung a Phosphex bomb into the headhunters. That was a direct hit and killed 5 Marines. Followed up with the destroyers up on the ledge opting to fire bolt pistols into the squad, which killed another 2 Marines, leaving 1 surviving. Due to the excessive casualties, the surviving headhunter has chosen to retreat, moving through difficult terrain back past Exodus. The Sons of Horus tactical squad fired their bolt pistols into the headhunters on this flank. They managed to secure 1 wound, but that was saved by the headhunters' power armour. The Quartus Contemptors also selected to fire at the headhunters on the flank. Firing his Kerries, he was able to cause 2 unsaved wounds. He then fired with his built-in combi bolt gun. That also caused a wound, but it was saved with the power armour. The tactical squad at the back has aimed up at Exodus up on his roost there by the ruins. They couldn't rely on Death Dealer, but they still managed to cause 5 hits, which resulted in 2 unsaved wounds for Exodus, leaving him on 1 wound up there. Reavers have only fired their melter guns, hoping not to move themselves out of charge range by firing all their bolt pistols. One of the melter guns missed, and then the second one that did hit rolled a 1 to wound, so the veterans emerged unscathed from that. Got a really interesting assault phase here for the Sons of Horus turn 2. Is one that the Alpha Legion really needed a little bit of a result on because the pressure was really on them. The Reavers assaulted into the veteran squad. Jason was able to make quite a lot of hits on Overwatch, but it all came to nothing after armour saves with the Sons of Horus. They moved in, they got a good roll, moved in, wrapping right around the unit. But then we moved on to the assault with the Quartus Contemptor, which was going to try and make a long charge over into the Headhunter squad. He was boosted by activating his overdrive and the Warlord trait, giving him a total of 2 bonus inches, so he could have made it. But in Overwatch, Jason was able to make a hit with one of the combi melters, then a penetrating result on a 6, and then a 6 for an explosion. The explosion from that, where he was right over by the big combat in the centre, ended up causing a lot of wounds to the Reavers, which were all saved on armour saves, but 4 of the veterans were killed in the explosion. Finally, for assaults, the Tactical Marines managed to make a 3-inch assault into the Headhunters who weren't making any Overwatch shots because they fired at the Quartus earlier. At Initiative 10, the Reavers have come in with Hammer of Wrath from their jump packs. They've killed 3 Marines outright, and 1 save was passed on the Sergeant with his Artificer armour. Initiative Step 4, we've had some really interesting piling moves because of the way the combat got split up by the effective Hammer of Wrath attacks and the explosion from the Contemptor. There are some Marines there on the left of the combat. The Sons of Horus with the Power Sword fought first. He failed to do any wounds. The Marine with the Chain Axe managed to do 1 wound, but it was saved with a power armor save. The Alpha Legion fought back. Due to counter-attack, they also got 4 attacks back each. They also managed to do 1 wound, and again it was saved by power armor. Sons of Horus Initiative 1, the Reavers Chieftain has stepped up. He managed to score 3 hits but rolled 2 1s to wound. So 1 wound's gone through and killed the Sergeant of the Veteran squad, although he still gets to strike back because he's the same initiative.
At Initiative Step 1, the Alpha Legion Power Fist struck back. The Sergeant, before he died, managed to hit twice, killing 2 men. The Delegatus then swung back with 5 attacks due to his power dagger and counterattack, hitting 5 times, wounding 5 times, killing 5 men from the squad.
The Sons of Horus made some Merciless Fighter attacks back for the Initiative 1 step. None of them came to any consequence, leaving us with 7 kills to the Alpha Legion and 5 to the Sons of Horus, who've actually somehow lost this combat. Just taken a leadership test, and they have remained in the combat with a result of 3. Combat here on the flank between the Tactical Squad and the Alpha Legion Headhunters. The Tactical Marines have charged in, managing to get 21 attacks with their extra close combat weapons. 10 of them hit, caused 6 wounds. only one died after power armor saves. The Alpha Legion struck back at Initiative 4 with 8 attacks, but they failed to do any wounds in the end. Bit of a change at Initiative Step 1 though. The Alpha Legion Sergeant has stepped up. He's got the Power Dagger and a Power Fist, and he was able to cause 4 hits, 4 wounds, and then kill 4 Marines. The Sons of Horus struck back with Merciless Fighters, but were unable to do any damage and then lost the combat. They've fallen back, but they weren't caught by the Headhunters. End of turn 2 for the Sons of Horus, and things have really turned round a bit. Looked like a really promising combat phase for them, but they've really significantly bounced off that large unit in the centre, lost the Contemptor to Overwatch, and then the Headhunters that were being targeted by the Contemptor have still put in a good fight against the tactical Marines they ended up against. Levelled it a lot and be quite interesting going forward.
Alpha Legion turn to movement phase. The Saboteur arrived from reserve, however, coming up on the left flank, he's a bit stuck out on his own. The Linnean Terminators also arrived from reserve, using the Nuncio Vox from the surviving veterans to teleport right into the centre of the battlefield. The surviving Headhunter squad have advanced towards the centre of the table, hoping to try and save the Delegatus from a grisly end at the hands of the Sons of Horus champion. And the lone Headhunter with a combi plasma gun has rallied on the far side of the table, consolidating back towards the destroyers that wiped out the rest of his unit. The Saboteur launched his sabotage attack, targeting the full strength destroyer unit. He caused 5 hits at strength 6 AP3, ignoring cover. Luckily, the Sons of Horus Sergeant tried to take the hits. He managed to tank 3, unfortunately failing 1 and killing a second member of the squad. Turn to Alpha Legion shooting. The lone Headhunter snap-fired his combi plasma at the Destroyer Sergeant, hoping to get lucky. Unfortunately, he failed to hit. The Linneans opened up with their Volkite chargers on the full-strength tactical squad, causing 3 wounds, but passing all their armor saves. And then Exodus targeted the full-strength tactical squad again, hitting 4 times, managing to rend out the Vexilla from the unit, killing the front 2 men, and unfortunately failing to wound the sergeant of the unit. They, however, passed their leadership test. The final act of the Alpha Legion turn 2 shooting was the Saboteur taking a pot shot at the lone destroyer with a Toxiferin Flamer sticking out the top of the ruins. However, he only rolled a 1 to hit, overheating his combi plasma gun, luckily passing his armor save though. Alpha Legion turned to assault phase. The remaining Headhunter squad have charged in to assist the Delegatus, trying to keep him alive. At Initiative 10, their Venom Spheres detonated but did no damage, and Initiative 5, the Legion Champion struck with 3 wounds against the Delegatus, one of which caused instant death that was saved by the Refractor Field. However, the remaining 2 went through, slaying the Alpha Legion Warlord. At Initiative Step 4, the last 2 veterans swung, causing 2 wounds. However, these were saved by the power armour. The Headhunters then struck with their power daggers, managing to puncture through the armour of 2 men. However, again, these were saved by the Apothecary with a double 6 roll for the Feel No Pain. At Initiative Step 4, the Sons of Horus swung back with their chain axes. The veterans remained unscathed. However, 2 Headhunters were brought down by chain axes from the unit. At Initiative Step 1, the Headhunter Prime struck with his Power Fist, with 4 hits thanks to preferred enemy infantry, 4 wounds and 4 dead Marines. However, the Sons of Horus still got to strike back with their Merciless Fighters. Luckily, the Alpha Legion's power armour saved them from any further damage. The result of the combat was a draw with 4 wounds caused each. This locks the Alpha Legion in. I was hoping to try and pinch that and save the Delegatus. That is the Alpha Legion Warlord slain, and I really need to kill the Sons of Horus Warlord.
Sons of Horus movement, turn 3, a really tactical one for them now. They need to play carefully to hold out against the Alpha Legion. The tactical squad here has managed to rally and consolidated just 3 inches, getting a bit of distance away from the Terminators. No movement in the centre, apart from the larger tactical squad, which has again fallen back from the Terminators, but still staying near that objective. A little bit more action up by the ruins. We've had the lone Destroyer Sergeant just clambering up there, ready near the surviving Headhunter, and then the 3 surviving destroyers jumped across the ruin. They had to take a difficult terrain test. 1 was failed, but it was saved by the armour, getting them into a good position. Onto the shooting turn 3 for the Sons of Horus. That Toxiferum Flamer has fired out, managed to hit both of the Alpha Legion on the slope, but failed to score any unsaved wounds. Moved straight onto the lone sergeant down on the slope because the other Marines didn't have a line of sight. He's fired both bolt pistols, he scored 2 unsaved wounds, and Jason passed 2 armour saves. Just quickly made the snapshots with the surviving Marines here. They did score 1 hit onto the Terminators in the centre, but didn't manage to wound. Rounding up the Sons of Horus shooting, the larger tactical squad has fired straight across at the Lernian Terminators in the centre. They scored 5 hits, but weren't able to score any wounds onto them. Sons of Horus turn 3 combat phase. Both destroyer units have made their charges. Hammer of Wrath was ineffective, as was the Overwatch from the Alpha Legion, so we're ready to deal with the combats next. Combat between the lone destroyer sergeant and the lone headhunter. Unbelievably, the destroyer sergeant failed to make any hits with 5 rolls. Then in response, the headhunter managed to get a rending close combat attack that ignored the sergeant's armor save and killed him. The headhunter is consolidated up towards the other ongoing combat on the slope. The second destroyer squads had more luck in their combat with Exodus. With their 12 attacks, they managed to get 1 wound through, just finishing him off. They've consolidated back towards the ruins, ready to try and deal with the headhunter next turn. Combat between the veterans, headhunters and the Reaver squad, which has been devastating so far. The Initiative 5, we've gone in with the champion, and he's scored 3 unsaved wounds against the headhunters, which has wiped the sergeant and the remaining headhunter, leaving us with 1 Reaver and the 2 veterans. We've moved over to the Marines on this side of the combat. Had the Reaver strike at Initiative 4 with his chain axe, failing to cause any wounds. The veterans retaliated, also failing to cause any wounds. That left us with 1 attack for Merciless Fighters, again ineffective, and the Alpha Legion lost the combat. They passed their leadership on a 3, so they're very much staying in the combat, ready for next turn. I've had an interesting short turn there. I've been able to clear up Exodus, which is a great result. Very disappointing combat against the lone headhunter, and I've still got the combat going on in the middle without dealing any damage to those Terminators.
Alpha Legion turn 3 movement phase. The Linnean Terminators have advanced on the Sons of Horus Warlord. The lone headhunter has advanced on the remaining 3 destroyers, hoping to get lucky, and the Saboteur is stalking his prey, the large tactical squad, on the far flank. Alpha Legion turn 3 shooting phase. The lone headhunter has opened up point blank range at the Sons of Horus destroyer squad, managing to bring one down with a rending shot from his Bane Strike ammo. They managed to pass their leadership test though. The last act of the Alpha Legion shooting phase was the Saboteur, who managed to run 5 inches closer to the tactical squad, sneaking round the container. Alpha Legion turn 3 assault phase. The Linnean Terminators have charged into the Sons of Horus champion, hoping to bring down the enemy warlord. First to strike at Initiative 5 was the Sons of Horus champion, who managed to cleave 2 Linnean Terminators in half, cutting through their invulnerable saves. At Initiative 4, the last Reaver was unable to bring down either of the veterans, however they were able to club him to death with their bolt guns. The Linnean Terminators struck back Initiative 1, pulling apart the Reaver champion. They were then able to consolidate 4 inches towards the large tactical squad, and the 2 veterans consolidated 6 inches towards the smaller tactical squad. The Sons of Horus champion, how luckily missed with his last Initiative 1 attack from Merciless Fighters.
Sons of Horus turn 4 movement. The last large tactical squad has charged around trying to uncover this Saboteur sneaking around behind the container. They've moved a full 6 inches towards him. On the slope here, the destroyers have just hopped out of cover past that window, so they're closer to the headhunter. And the remaining 3 tactical marines on the other flank have moved in, ready to charge the remaining veterans. Sons of Horus turn 4 shooting, and the destroyers have finally dealt with that lone headhunter, killing him with a torrent of flame from the Toxiferium Flamer down the slope and causing him to fail an armour save. Carrying on with shooting, the 3 tactical marines have fired their bolt pistols at the veterans, failing to cause any wounds. Rounded off the Sons of Horus shooting with 7 of the tactical marines firing at the saboteur. They all hit with Death Dealer, but only scored 1 wound, which he passed with his armour save. Sons of Horus turn 4 assault phase. The tactical marines have declared a charge against the saboteur. He fired his overwatch, which was ineffective, and then they failed their 5-inch charge through difficult terrain. The Sons of Horus tactical squad declared a charge against the Alpha Legion veterans. Unfortunately, on their way in, they lost a marine to overwatch fire from the melter gun, but they are now in combat. All marines in this combat struck at the same time at Initiative 4. The Sons of Horus were able to kill 1 Alpha Legion marine. The Alpha Legion responded with 8 attacks. They weren't able to cause any unsaved wounds, so lost the combat by 1. They failed their leadership and were run down by the Sons of Horus. Big success for the Sons of Horus because they've been struggling with those 2 marines for a while now. Fresh from their victory over the tricky veteran marines, the Sons of Horus have consolidated 4 inches back onto the objective.
Alpha Legion turn 4 movement. The saboteur has shuffled a little bit close to the tactical squad. Now his trap is sprung, and these remaining 3 Linnean Terminators have advanced upon the lone 2 tactical marines, hoping to wipe them off the objective and secure the rear of the army. Alpha Legion turn 4 shooting phase. The Linnean Terminators opened up with their Volkite charges into the tactical squad on the objective, shredding 1 and causing an extra win with the flag rate. However, the final armour save was passed, as was the leadership test, holding that objective still. The final act of the Alpha Legion shooting phase was the saboteur throwing a crack grenade at the tactical squad. However, it detonated harmlessly, causing no damage. Alpha Legion turn 4 assault phase. The saboteur charged into the tactical squad, withering a hail of gunfire, but luckily passing his armour saves. The 3 Linnean Terminators then also charged the remaining tactical marine. Again, overwatch fire was ineffective. Alpha Legion turn 4 assault phase. The Linnean Terminators pulp the remaining marine with no reply, consolidating a single inch, securing that objective. At Initiative 5, the saboteur strikes with his power dagger, hitting 4 times, wounding twice, killing 2 marines. At Initiative Step 4, the sergeant with his power maul and the remaining marines tried to bludgeon the saboteur to death, causing 1 wound, and then at Initiative Step 1, their merciless fighters attack again. However, the saboteur survives with a single wound left. The Sons of Horus lose combat by 1, but pass their leadership test, remaining locked in combat.
Sons of Horus turn 5. Not much to move, so we've done the destroyers leaping across that ruin with their jump packs, and then we went straight into the shooting phase where they scrambled up the rock face with a 6 to run. Sons of Horus turn 5 combat phase. We go straight into the ongoing combat with the saboteur. The saboteur struck first against tactical marines because he's Initiative 5. He didn't manage to score any unsaved wounds. In response to the power dagger attacks, the Sons of Horus have gathered around and brutally dragged down and murdered the saboteur, inflicting 1 unsaved wound to finish him off. The tactical squad has consolidated 2 inches away from that combat. There's not much left on the board, but that does put them in a strong position to try and avoid those powerful Linnean Terminators and try and score a Wall of Lies objective.
Alpha Legion turn 5 movement. The Linnean Terminators have left their objective, advancing into the centre of the field, and although they can't shoot anything this turn or charge anything, they're hoping that next turn they might be able to shoot the Sons of Horus tactical squad off the objective, hopefully forcing a leadership test and maybe even getting them to run away.
6th and final turn for the Sons of Horus. The destroyers have hopped up back into the ruins again near that objective. They're not scoring units, they can't hold it, but looks effective for our game, and it keeps them out of the range of fire of the Terminators anyway. And then in a more critical move, the remaining tactical marines have moved forward, securing that objective for now and getting ready to fire onto the Terminators into the centre. Sons of Horus, final shooting phase. In a desperate attempt to deal with the Terminators in the centre, these tactical marines have fired their bolt guns. 7 shots with 6 hits. 1 wound did go through, but it was saved by the Terminator armour. That's everything the Sons of Horus can manage for now. It's their last turn, and they're just going to be hoping to hang tight on that objective with the tactical squad, hunker down in the rubble, and hopefully survive a turn of shooting from those 3 Terminators.
Alpha Legion final turn 6. The Linnean Terminators have advanced onto the objective in the centre of the table. They've then opened up on the tactical squad with their Volkite chargers, however causing no damage whatsoever. In a final bid and a last chance to win, they've declared a charge on the Sons of Horus tactical squad. However, in a streak of luck, they've caused 5 hits and 5 wounds with overwatch from their bolter fire. I've now got 5 armour saves to make for the remaining 3 Terminators to avoid being tabled. They've all passed their their armour saves. Now I've got a 9-inch charge to make to try and get in combat. They fail with a 7. So they don't make the charge, but they are able to still secure the objective in the centre of the table. And the Sons of Horus remain in command of the other objective in the tundra.
Who'd have thought 1,500 points of Alpha Legion and Sons of Horus paid at Centurion level would be so thrilling.
Brutal.
My heart is in my mouth. I mean, that was fantastic. It looked like really it was over by turn 2.
Yeah, the turn 1 shooting phase was not particularly good, but luckily that one Dreadnought going up in smoke turned it around.
Holy hell!
It's close.
Imagine if that had hit. It would have been done.
Yeah.
I've done a night on a snap shooting Magos Prime with a melter gun. You know, it is possible. It's a long shot, but it is possible.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember in our last game, I wiped a Crimson Paladin unit with snapshot and metal guns.
Yeah, I remember that. Let's not be forgotten too quickly.
Wow.
I think that was fantastic. I mean, I think it has to be said as well, your Feel No Pain rolls were unbelievable.
Yeah, there was a lot of wild rolls, to be honest. Weren't there?
Yeah, turn 1, just nothing died.
Mm.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal. It wasn't looking good, turn 2.
No. I loved your really aggressive advance in the first turn.
Yeah.
And I thought you were going to cop it turn 2, but it wasn't so successful, was it? So I think you did all right out of it.
I mean, it just really bounced off what I was expecting to be shooting units. I had a fairly powerful combat army, and then it's just bouncing off power daggers and good armor saves from you, and really didn't do the damage that it looked like it might.
Yeah, luckily the characters with power fists really did the number.
Yeah, power fist and power dagger.
I was about to say you had some amazing power daggers.
Yeah,
through the islands.
Well, with the extra attack it gives you, and then someone with 4 attacks hitting 4 times, wounding 4 times, and with the headhunters having preferred enemy, the rerolls of 1s to hit and wound really increases their output.
Oh man, it was mad. The results are extremely close, so let's just get into these and we'll get that done, and we can talk about the units. We'll start with the Sons of Horus. They did a fantastic job. For the death toll, they scored 6. They secured Warlord, and then due to martial hubris giving up a point, the Sons of Horus scored a massive 8 victory points. But also, crucially, they got an objective at the end of the game, so they get a roll on the War of Lies, which we'll do in 1 second. Alpha Legion did really well also, 5 points for death toll, also secured Warlord, putting them on 6. There is 2 points difference between the two. Who wants to do their rolls first? You bothered?
Go on, Jason.
Go on.
You're behind.
No pressure, yeah.
So War of Lies, go on.
6. It's a 3.
3. So you got 1 victory point.
Okay.
Oh.
So 7.
7 total. You've still won.
Yeah.
Anything but a 6.
Yeah. Unless
Well, you could get D3. Go
so
on.
it's not even decided yet. A 6.
Oh.
So I'm going to lose D3.
Yeah.
Oh, now I've said it.
Oh,
I've lost
3.
So I've lost D3 victory points, and that means you win, just based on the War of Lies.
That goes, yeah, so Alpha Legion get +1 and you get -3.
Oh, wow. So there's a point in it. Oh my word. That is mental.
I've got to claim slight, very narrow moral victory, but Sons of Horus have obviously picked up something they shouldn't there in that game.
Yeah.
So there's 2 points. So let's have a quick recap of the scores. Alpha Legion 5, 6, plus 1 is 7. And then Sons of Horus 6, 7, 8, minus 3 is 5.
Yeah.
So 5 versus 7. So what an unbelievable turn of events.
Sneaky.
This is War of Lies. It's tough.
I like it that it can, as long as it's close, it's not quite decided in the game. You've got to make sure you get the right objective.
Yeah.
But it's close. It's good fun.
Gives us that last bit of drama at the end, so can't complain.
Tom, let's start with you. Tell us about the 2 units you brought back.
I had a little bit of a tough time picking. I think man of the match has to be the champion with the Paragon Blade, just because of the amount of really sort of crucial work he did in the centre. He cut through 2 of the Leonine Terminators just before he died, so that was pretty valuable. Maybe more importantly, he kept that combat going when I had, like I said earlier, I thought I had a decent combat unit in the right position, but I kept coming up against obstacles, getting killed by the exploding Contemptor and that sort of thing. He stayed alive and he kept going, kept sort of killing 2 to 3 guys a turn.
Including my Warlord.
Yeah, slayed the
Slayed him,
Warlord.
yeah.
Kept things ticking over solidly every time he was in combat getting kills. So it's got to be my main man of the match. But I think I want to do an honourable mention as well. For the
down Phosphex bomb.
Yeah, Lone Destroyer Sergeant. The rest of the squad got killed around him, and then he walked up to that doorway in the ruins.
Rolled his bomb in.
Yeah, threw in that Phosphex bomb to, was it a full headhunter squad at the time?
I think 8-man unit, killed
Took
5. And
yeah.
then the rest of them, there were surviving 1, ended up fleeing.
Yeah.
Did get his revenge and kill him though.
He did. Yeah,
him
he
with
did
that.
maybe, yeah.
He got his revenge, but yeah, he
Didn't
just-
quite follow it through. That might have been, that might have got him out of the match, rather than an honourable mention.
It was great. 2 really great choices there, though. Fantastic. Jason, what you got?
I brought back my headhunter unit with the combi melter guns. They were in an okay position on the flank, and then they got really lucky when that Contemptor charged with a 6 to hit, 6 to pen, failed the inbun save, 6 to explode, 6-inch thing, killed 4 men of my own unit. But that was ended up being quite lucky, as it then put quite a few of your Reavers out of range to strike, which ended up giving me a significant advantage in that combat.
Those movement effects, not actual kills, but just positioning, had quite a big impact. It's sort of a subtle thing you could easily not pick up on, and it did cause me problems.
Yeah.
The pilings were quite tricky, weren't they?
And the sergeant as well, with his power fist in 2 combats, hit 4 times, wounded 4 times, and slew 4 people. So he killed 8 men on his own, just in 2 squads.
Yeah.
So yeah, they definitely pulled their weight.
Yeah, can't forget that preferred enemies on combat people.
Especially with power fists.
Yeah, because
Brutal.
he did some serious work.
Yeah.
I think there was loads of really high drama pockets of Marines on Marine action there. It was so good, and you both had some really great dice rolls and some not so good, but I think it balanced out throughout the game, and despite there was 1,500 points on a 6x4, it was still an absolutely thrilling game, I think.
Came down to the wire. I think I had 3 men left, and you had 9 men left at the end of the game. So,
yeah, I think Centurion, can't discount it for drama. It's
Yeah.
not
Just as
all
fun.
about. Yeah, it's just as fun as big games sometimes, isn't it? Like we played last time, you still had all the drama, and it did
Just
pay
as
out
bloody.
fine on the 6x4. Maybe because we had the fast units, but perhaps not. I think you'd probably get a decent game like that anyway.
Yeah.
I think every unit is so important, and you really have to work out what you're doing. And I think you both played a tremendous game. It was very exciting. And also, I think as well, you both had snow bases. We gave you a winter wonderland, and I think it all tied in beautifully. The green and blue of the models, the dark palette, dark colour of the board of the white snow. I think visually as well, it was really
it
cool.
was
eh?
The table
Thanks
was
for the
awesome.
board. Yeah,
You liked it?
fantastic.
Yeah, it's great
Really
fun
loved
to
that.
play. Yeah, we've not managed to play these armies against each other. Certainly not on a snowy board before. So
Good.
it was great seeing all the snow and the bases matching up.
Good. I put a picture of the board up on Facebook or Instagram, I can't remember, and someone said, "Oh, it just looks like a load of rocks on the table." And I was like, "Oh,
It's got salt on it as well. It's rocks and salt.
this is true." I mean, technically, yes, you are right. It is just rock and salt, but I think it's done in a reasonably creative way. So,
No, don't be worrying about that. That's rock and snow. That's what real life looks like.
amen.
I know, great round the ruin that you had sort of buried with the cliffs and the rocks. So it's
it
made a real
works.
cinematic slope for the destroyers to fight over.
Yeah, probably worth mentioning that actually, just because of us having infiltrators and jump infantry, it meant we weren't put off moving around that big cliff and the big ruin. We weren't worried about, it's going to take loads of movement to get up there. That got crossed several times by the destroyers, back and forward, fighting up and down the slope, and that was really cinematic and fun.
Yeah, made a great battlefield to fight over.
Good. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. I've also done a board build video. So before Jason and Tom arrived, I filmed about 40 minutes of me just building and give you a reason why I built what I built. So stay tuned for that after this interview and have a watch, and it just gives you an insight as to what happens really before the guys arrive. But also as well, I talk about the cost of the table. That table is super cheap, and it really helps the channel. We don't make massive amounts of money, but anything I do get goes back into the terrain and models and stuff, and this allows the channel to be different and fresh every week. So hopefully you appreciate that, but go check it out and have a look. Gents, your armies are absolutely lovely, and we can see more of them. My pleasure. On your Instagrams, where can we find you?
I'm at T Minority on Instagram.
Fantastic.
And I'm does a pet bear paint in the woods, and there's an underscore between each word.
We love that one. We did ask him, but last time, and he wouldn't reveal it. But it's a great Instagram name. Please follow those guys if you want to see more of their models, and obviously you can follow the channel as well. It's just at the 30k channel. Now, I was going to say we'd get you back quite soonish, but you've got events happening in your lives and you might not be back for a little while, is that right?
I'm expecting the end of January, so I'm not sure how much hobby time I'll be getting.
God damn it.
But if I can sneak out for a weekend or a day, I'll certainly be back.
Just going to have to play it by ear, really, aren't we? We're not too far away, but we'll see what happens. Keep in contact.
It seems a shame to deny the world the Alpha Legion and the Blood Angels, but we'll try and sort something out. Gents, thank you so much for your efforts today and coming over. I've really enjoyed myself.
Thank you. No, thank you for hosting us. And like I said earlier, thanks for the great table to play on.
Yeah, great fun again.
My pleasure. All right, we will see you in the next game. Hello everybody, I really hope you've enjoyed that game between Sons of Horus and Alpha Legion. As always with the ball build videos, I film this prior to the game, or prior to the guys arriving, so I have no idea how the day's gone. We played 1500 points, Centurion, Tom and Jason. I think it's their second time back now, so really great to have them back. And I haven't done a board build video for a very long time, so I thought I'd do one now. Before I set the camera up to film this, I've changed the board 2 or 3 times, at least the orientation of the larger parts. I'm still not 100% on what I want. Although after fiddling for a little bit now, I kind of know what I want. I plan to surround this building in rocks. And as you saw, it's a snow table. So the guys requested a snow table. So I went to Tesco this morning and brought a ton of salt. So that's the snow. And we're going to see how it goes. I originally had the building here with the Zomortalis tiles this way. My concern is that with the Alpha Legion, they're probably going to deploy quite centrally anyway, and then one side of the battlefield is going to be completely ignored. So I don't want to bias the table in any way. So originally I had this building here and this open area central in the middle. But I thought, well, maybe that's too open. But I think, thinking about it now, I think that's what we want. We want a large open area for the forces to get amongst each other. We want to make it quite dangerous for those troops to kind of advance out of cover and into the open ground to engage each other. You've got jump packs and you've got infiltrating. So I don't think it'll be so bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slightly move this. I think I'm going to go that way with it and have the board this way. Maybe we might have it at a slight angle. I'm not 100% sure yet. It's all a bit guesswork really. These aren't massively planned out. It's kind of more how I feel on the day perhaps than I give them a lot of thought. Although sometimes I give boards a lot of thought, but this one it's snuck up on me, shall we say. I'm going to get on with it. Yeah, I really like that now. I much prefer this, because if you're either player, you might choose to capture the building and shoot out, or I'm going to try and build a bit of a heap up here, or maybe put some defense lines around this area to kind of reinforce this compound. So maybe if you're Sons of Horus, you've casted up in here, but then maybe if you're the Alpha Legion, you've come in from different edges. So I think it's going to be really interesting, and to command this building will be quite central, I think, to the game. So we'll obviously have maybe some barricades or some crates along here. You know, if there is a full assault on the front of that building, at least they've got some cover, kind of, you know, pepper potting up to take the building. I'm not saying that's the way the game's going to go, but that's kind of what I've got in my head. The boards for me always have to make sense. There's no point just putting stuff all over the place, because it just doesn't. It's like, oh, you know, what's the reason for that? I like this here. Got the double doors in this building here, and we'll do something with the insides. We'll darken the space up in the bottom there, and then everything else is going to be rocky outcrops with snow or salt dribbled on the top, sort of thing. So, you know, it looks pretty awful now, but I promise you, once the contrast of the white against the bare rock, just, oh man, I love it. It's fantastic. So yeah, I'm going to rough out the rough areas, I guess, and decide whether to put a defense line along here or not. I'm not 100% sure yet. We'll see how we go. All right, it's taking shape. I know it still looks weird. Just need to get a load more rock around the area, and particularly on here, I need to blend this in a little bit more. But we're getting close. Right, well, I've used every single piece of slate I have in the building, so I appreciate there's a ton. And if I wasn't doing a snowboard, I would have just dumped a ton of the black aquarium aggregate on it, and it would have really smoothed these out really beautifully. But as we're not, salt's going down. The reason why I'm not putting salt and the aggregate together is because you'll never get the black from the white out. It would just be impossible. The only way you could do it would be to hose it all down, let the salt dissolve, but you know, that's so much work to make that happen. So you could argue, well, don't make it a snowboard. Well, you're absolutely right, but you know, I try to cater to the whim of the guys that come on the channel and give them a game that they want to play, and then they've requested a snowboard, and this is the best way to create a snowboard. I need to add detail now, because if I start putting the snow down now, it won't quite work with the crates and things I've got in plan. So I need to get the details down first and close up a lot of these this massive open ground. We're going to pop a little roof on here, crates, and then I think it's pretty much done. It's going to be very simple, but I think it'll be an incredibly tactical game, because you'll have I think there's only a dreadnought in each force. And then the troops got to try and outmaneuver each other with the terrain in the middle. So I think it'd be quite an interesting game. Let's go on with it. I think we're nearly there. There's a couple of small things to add, really. I love these Forge World landing pads for Aeronautica Imperialis when it came out years ago. Who knows? But I like to put our little friend on that. Always lost some tracks, just to kind of simulate. It's like a charging station. I think the scale works really well, actually. So I might just move these out of the way. It's just to give some interest, really, just to show that, you know, it's a serviceable place and stuff happens. I think I'm going to replace those crates with a silo. I might put 2 on there, maybe. It looks a bit out of place. I might put a little bit of protection around it. We've got some, I can't remember what they're called, defence lines. I might do that. I'm not 100% sure yet. Although it does look a little bit open now. What I might do, might try and make that a bit more interesting. No, it doesn't quite work. I'm not sure. I might put this on top of here just to kind of make that a bit more interesting once the roof goes on. I think these worked really well back here. I need to find his tracks. He's obviously taken some damage at some point. And then when the snow goes on, we can start to create little drifts, which, you know, if it's been snowing for a while, that happens. So that's a cool thing to do. I could really do with a ton more of these smaller stones rather than the real big ones. The big ones are great because they fill out a lot of space and it stops the salt or the aggregate settling, so it looks really flat, and that's quite boring. I think things always need to be quite textured. I guess the best way you could liken it to is really Forge World Space Marines and vehicles. Due to 40k vehicles, the 40k stuff is really high detailed and there's a ton of it, sometimes too much. But it does make for a more interesting model maybe, whereas the Heresy range, in my opinion, is a lot more simplified and a lot more stripped back, and that allows the painter to really give some great effects and quite blending, and you can almost have your own interpretation on a Space Marine armour, whereas with the 40k one, it's quite, you can still have the same freedoms, but there's a ton more detail to paint. So I don't know, that's kind of how I liken the two really. So lots of detail for boards, really good to go with the simplistic, cleaner lines of perhaps the Horus Heresy range, which is fantastic, you know, no complaints. So we're just trying to just block out some shapes because I know where the aggregate will fall and it won't quite work. So if I can fill it with some detail, it won't look so patchy. I'm really happy with the terrain in here. There's a ton to keep things interesting. I need to find the roof, so let's go do those little bits now and I'll come back to you with hopefully a finished board. Just quickly, what I've done there is I've just bunched it up just to make a bit of a mound, and you could easily hide a 10-man tactical squad behind there, or even a rhino, you know, depending on the lie of the land. So I've just bunched it up ever so slightly. The beauty of these rocks is that you can make a board that's completely your own design, and you can get that undulation. You know, the Realm of Battle tiles from Forge World or Games Workshop are absolutely fantastic, but to put relief into a game is really difficult because you obviously need to use, some people use books and a tablecloth, you know, to give you that kind of undulation, or polystyrene and, you know, sand it to like a slow gradient and stuff, or you just tend to get kind of stepped, you know, kind of hills, which are great and are really good for placing models. It's really easy, and to be fair, it's probably a lot easier to build. But with the channel, we always try to make things look as realistic as possible, and that's why I love these type of battlefields, and that's why I use them, is because you can just, or maybe I need a bit of cover over there, I'll just bunch these rocks up to make a bit of a hill, and that will make some cover for us. So it does cut the cost down massively for the channel, but also produces great boards at the same time. So, you know, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it? But I think it'll look great. I'm happy with the way everything is now. I'm done with it. The only thing I will add after the snow is crates maybe, and some barrels, which I'll just tuck into the snow, you know, like it's been drifted over almost. But I'm not 100% sure about this. It would be better maybe if the floor was lower and then you could fit the cylinder underneath. That would make more of a sense, and you could have it over 2 levels maybe, but it doesn't quite work. And I don't know if that just looked weird on its own. I'm not sure. I've got an idea quickly. There we go. We've got one of these, so maybe that might fit. It would fit if we cut the bottom off it, which it doesn't. So I'm going to take that off because I think it looks weird. Yeah, I think that's a lot better. All right, onto the snow. All right, you can see I'm sieving it because this snow was used a few times now and it's got some real nasty bits in it. But also what it does is it allows me to control where the snow goes. The thing I have to bear in mind when doing a snowboard is that the camera does not like the white very much. So a lot of the time you have to put the camera on and then take it away almost, because it just whites everything out. So you have to be very careful. So sometimes in the shot you'll get some shots will be brighter than others, but that's because of the white. So we don't want to coat it like we would do when we were using the black aggregate. We just want the suggestion of the snow, really. And it will really start to take shape really quickly. Some areas more than others will need more snow. But I think even with the black base, you know, if the areas are a little flat, I don't think it's the end of the world. I think it will be okay. As long as we get a light dusting on it. In an ideal world, what you'd have is you'd have maybe a sheet of maybe not plywood, a sheet of foam or something, just very lightly textured, so you don't get this dead flat terrain. And then you would then put it on top, and it wouldn't look so stark. But I think ultimately, I don't think you'll notice too much. But we're getting there. Now you can't get as much drift with the salt like you can with the aggregate because there's just not enough of it. And if you put too much down, the whole thing will just be completely blocked out by the white. So I've used everything I've got in my little thing here. I did buy some from a shop this morning, so I'm going to go get that, and I'll probably empty one of those onto the board, but I'm really happy with it so far. Now this stuff is absolutely brand new salt, or if that's a thing. So it's totally white, whereas the other one had a little bit of black in it, a little bit of the black aggregate, and some other bits and bobs. So this is quite nice. It's going on really beautifully, and it will really give us that freshly snowed powder kind of feeling that we're going for. Really, I've concentrated a bit more on the rocks up here because I want them to capture some of the salt, because I think it will look quite dramatic. And we are nearly there. Okay, that's that. I do have another tub of salt, but I'm not going to use it. I think we've got enough. I'm just going to bang a couple of these barrels just for a little bit of interest. You know, it's like decorating a cake almost, isn't it? I'm okay with the step between here and here because maybe, you know, it's built above the rocky landscape, so I'm probably okay with that. I think if I was using black aggregate, it would be blended in a little bit more, but we just don't have that luxury, as I explained earlier. The final thing to add is some very small loose stones, and then maybe a touch more snow over the top. So let me go get those. These small stones on top of the larger ones just really help blend all of those elements in together. It looks so good now. I wish I had a ton more of this because it would really help. The way I do it is I just get a hammer, wrap a load of this in towels, and then just crack it on the floor, just break up the rocks. Looks a lot better. There's a token in there, get rid of that. A little bit more at the front here, I think. And this will help with those flat areas where the snow looks a little flat. Just helps blend them bit on the roof. And that's the snowboard done, I think. I'm really happy with it. I think it's going to look great with the contrast of the green of the Sons of Horus and then the kind of the blue of the Alpha Legion. I think it'll look really great on this board. I'm really pleased with it. I really hope you found this interesting. I know I drone on quite a lot, but I guess there's a lot to explain, I guess. If you haven't seen one of these ball build videos before, then there's a lot to talk about. I would love you to go to your B&Q store or an equivalent place somewhere in the UK or wherever in the world where you are, buy a bag of slate for 20 quid and do a 4x4 board maybe, or even do a 2x2 board. Take some Games Workshop, Forge World Senior, whatever we got, buy some sand or go to an aquarium shop and buy a bit of aquarium aggregate for, I think it's 20 quid, 12 or 20 pounds, I can't remember, and see how you get on. And I'd love to see those photos, post them up on the Facebook page and show me what you've done, because I think if you've got space in your garage, I think it's worth doing, because you can change your board every single time. You'll never play on the same battlefield twice. And it's a really dramatic building and really dramatic thing. And you can really let your imagination run wild. And all you need to do is you just need to sweep it up at the end of the day, or when you finish your game, or keep it for the next one. They're really easy and cheap as well. That's it. I've imparted my wisdom on you. I really hope you've enjoyed this board build video, and I sincerely hope you've enjoyed the game as well. And we'll see you in the next one.